In this video, I'm gonna do a little bit of learning. I'm gonna learn a new technique, try something I've never done before. This tree is probably a red oak that's suspended over this creek bed. And if you guys watched the flying tree video that I put out recently, you saw that I had this huge suspended tree and I had to drop it. The top of the wood is compression wood, the bottom is tension wood, meaning as you cut, the top of the log is gonna compress together and the bottom's gonna open up and drop straight down. So the problem with that is when I cut into it, it's gonna pinch the saw as soon as it starts to drop down. So far, the way that I deal with that is just by using a wedge. So as I cut in, then I put the wedge in, and that stops the compression wood from pinching the chain of the saw as I cut the rest of the way through. Now there's a few issues with this technique. For one, if the log is really small, then you can't get the wedge in, so that won't work very well. It'll start to break before you get through. But the bigger issue that I had in that video was the fact that there was so much pressure by being suspended so far that it actually pinched my wedge. I broke my wedge. And the piece that was still in there, the wood just closed right up over, so it would have pinched my chain anyway. I got out of there in time and got the tree down, but after watching a bunch of logging videos, I realized there's a much better way. In fact, if you've watched this guy's channel, he just put out a video on this technique that I'm gonna try, so we'll see how it goes. So the technique goes like this. Instead of cutting down and putting a wedge in like I've been doing, what he taught is that you come down, cut, go into this top compression wood, not so far that it'll actually break and pinch your chain, but far enough to take out some wood so you don't get tear out when it breaks. And then you come around and go up and under without the saw ever leaving the log, which of course now this thing wants to kick back a little bit, so you gotta hold on tight and do all that. But then you go up under and work your way up. The idea there is by never leaving the log, your cuts are gonna line up perfectly. And also, because you've cut the whole piece out when it drops, it's gonna open up and fall down, no problem. That's the idea anyway. Like I said, I've never done this before, so it could be a challenge. We'll see what happens. First, I'm gonna cut the top there because it might actually be held to where I don't have the compression that I think I do. So for the demonstration, I'm gonna chop that piece. That way it truly will fall down when I cut it. Shout out to the Wilson Forest Lands YouTube channel. Love your dry sense of humor, and I learn a ton watching you. All right, let's do this. Well, that was cool. That worked really well. I didn't do a great job lining it up. That's on me, but it's my first time doing it. But what I learned was right here when I was coming down with the saw, of course, then you're on the tip of the chain. And so it was trying to kick me out of there. So I got to figure out how to do that, whether that's bring the saw down like this. I don't know yet. I'll just have to practice more. But it kicked me out and I went back in and I didn't quite get lined up. So that's why there's that little notch. Because basically I went down like this, came around, it kicked me out. I came back in just fine, but I was at an angle like this a little bit, so then when I cut up, I'm off. But still, very nice. I'm very happy with that. The technique works great. I just have to practice. And what's really cool, this is walnut. I thought this was a red oak. Anyways, that's a great technique. I'm gonna keep practicing and see if I can get this to be part of my arsenal and get really good at it. If you're in a profession or a hobby or anything, if you're not getting better and practicing, then what the heck are you doing? I love learning new things, so. Very cool, new skill unlocked. Well, that was supposed to be the end of the video. I was not planning on this being a walnut. I thought it was red oak, and it's small enough as red oak, it wasn't worth anything to me. And also I have no access to get in here, so getting this out is gonna be a challenge. But because this is walnut, I think we should take that challenge on in this video. So I'm gonna figure out how to get this thing out of here, which means we're gonna have to do some more work. saw it up. It'll make some nice little live edge charcuterie boards. So you guys are gonna get a bonus today, but I gotta get to work over there. It's gonna be a lot of sawing. A giant cottonwood broke off, took a bunch of stuff down with it, so we gotta clean a path so we can get through here. I'm not gonna be able to drive in the creek bed. It's still way too soft, but I've got an idea. So let's clean this up first. We're gonna have to work our way in through here and go all the way over there. These cottonwoods are not real safe right now, so I wanna be careful in here. Well, that went better than I thought. That cottonwood was just barely hanging on, and as soon as I relieved the pressure, it came down, so that's awesome. Now I can come grab it. I kind of want to mill it up just for fun. And also we got this red oak that it had smashed that I can harvest too. See my idea? I guess for one thing, we get to try our technique again. A little more practice here. So we'll try it one more time, see if I do a little better, and then see if I'm strong enough to pull this out of here on the two-wheeler. If not, I've got some ropes and things, so we'll figure it out. That went so much better. Let's see how it looks. There you can see how much cleaner. There's still just a little tiny ledge, but way better than I did the first time. So second time's a charm. We're learning. I'm a little concerned about getting this out of here because it's heavy. Let's see what it feels like. Here. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Probably gonna have to just drag it through the sand. With perseverance, we got the job done. Now it's covered in sand, so I'm gonna have to debark it. So I'm gonna go get the logging trailer and get this one out of here, and we're gonna save the other one for another time when I can actually get the logging trailer all the way to it, because that was ridiculous. Now that's a snatch block right there. That was a lot of work just getting this over here. Was it worth it? We'll find out. But I got a lot of sand and rocks in here now, so I'm gonna actually do some debarking. This is all rot anyway. Try to get rid of as much of this as I can. The saw blades do not like dirt, sand, gravel, whatever. I'm happy with that. We ended up with about 56 board feet of walnut here. I was not expecting to be cutting walnut today, so that's an awesome surprise. Also learned a brand new skill. These are about 11 inches wide at the narrow end, 15 at the wide end, give or take with each one. And we ended up with 7 boards. The very bottom board does have the pith included in it, so when it dries, it's gonna crack and may not be any good, or the pith could be cut out or put epoxy in there, I don't know. But these will make great charcuterie boards, something like that. They're all cut at 4/4, just a little over an inch. Man, what a cool day. Learned a new skill, cut up some walnut. Also, you can probably hear the wind. It's 70 degrees today with wind. The mud has dried out, so we're gonna start on that cedar job next. Cheers. Woohoo! The smell of this walnut reminds me of my grandpa, his shop. He was a carpenter, so love cutting this stuff.